Shavua Tov, Agutavach. Thank you very much for tuning in and joining the Kehillat Shari Torah Daily Halacha Review and Sefirah Omer Count. Today is Sunday, May 2nd, and today is the 35th day of the Omer. Hayom Chamisha Ushloishim Yom, Shehem Chamisha Shavuot LaOmer. 5 weeks into counting the Omer, we are getting there, my dear friends. We are continuing with Rabbi Yosef Chaim Lanzer's acquiring the Torah step by step, 49 days. We're up to day 35. Day 35 references the Mishnah in Pirkei Avos, which speaks about 48 ways to acquire Torah. And this one is Lo Megis Libo Betalmudai. Lo Megis Libo Betalmudo. A person's heart should not become overly inflated or, let's say, arrogant with one's learning. This means not to show off what you've learned, but to go about it in a modest way. It's important to note that the essence of modesty is not defined necessarily by modesty in dress. Rather, the true definition is one who has an inner life, one who does not, and that inner life is not something that a person feels compelled to share with everybody they run into. This inner world is the definition of tzniut, of modesty, and from this stem acts of modesty and not showing oneself off. One who appreciates and lives with an inner world is able to learn Torah modestly and perceive its beauty for what it is. Rabbi Wolbe, who was a noted rabbi and educator in Israel, was of the opinion that if someone has a powerful Torah thought that he's deeply affected by, that person should refrain from sharing it with anyone else until the inspiration passes. The reason being that before one shares the thought, it lives in one's inner tsanua world, one's own private world, and its power is fully focused on that person. Once it's shared with others and passed on, the thought becomes public, and although others do benefit from it, its power and effect become, so to speak, diluted. The altar of Kalam, they tell the story, once kept a Torah thought to himself for 25 years. It seems that all this time he himself was growing from that thought which was within him. Okay, something we can think about. Turning to Halacha, we were reviewing the laws of Nesias Kapayim, raising up the palms, in other words, duchening, the priestly blessing. It says in Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, whenever the Kohanim turn around, either at the beginning or the end of Birchas Kohanim, they always turn towards their right. Therefore, at the beginning, when they're standing facing the Aron, facing to the east, they should first turn south and then to the west, then face the Kehillah. After they finish Birchas Kohanim, they turn to face east. They should do so by first turning north, in other words, again to their right. When they're going down from the Duchan, their faces should be somewhat towards the Aron, and they should walk backwards, of course, unless it's a tripping hazard for them, like a pupil takes leave of his or her master. When putting on their shoes, they're not supposed to touch them. Rather, if they did touch them, they have to wash their hands. They rather just slip their shoes into them. A good argument for loafers, I will say. It does come up in our shul from time to time. What happens when the chazan is a kohen? You should try, if possible, if the circumstances permit it, to have a chazan who's not a kohen. If he is a kohen for Yom Tov, in other words, when we have a choice of anyone in the shul, if he is a kohen, he should not go up to duchan and should not prompt the kohanim, but rather someone else stands alongside the chazan to call out kohanim. He should also read to them the words yivarechacha. That person, the person who's standing by the chazan, and the chazan remains silent until sim shalom. He commits no sin by not going up to bless the people, even though the other person called out kohanim, because this call is intended only for a kohen who's not in the middle of davening and who is allowed to move from his place during ritzei. If he's the only kohen present, what do you do? In order not to forego the mitzvah of priestly blessings, here's the procedure. He goes up to the duchan, relying on his having washed his hands in the morning, and he moves his feet a little bit when saying ritzei and continues until he gets to Ulcha Na'el Lehodos. Then someone else says Elkenu V'Kelevisenu, and the chazan goes up to the duchan while the other person prompts him. However, after this, the chazan resumes and says Sim Shalom, but does not say Ribon HaOlamim until after the Kaddish. If he did not move his feet during ritzei, he's not allowed to go up to the duchan. Tricky, but there you have it. Okay, hopefully we'll always be blessed with plenty of Kohanim, who in turn will bless us as a Kehillah, and everything will go well, and as it should be. Have a good day.